Authenticate. The real, no fake. Authenticate. Yeah, the real, no fake.
Welcome to Night Shift. So a lot of stuff's been happening. I mean, let's uh let's get right into it. Um okay. Go to my list here before I go on the YouTubes. Here we go. Okay, we'll keep it 49ers first. I mean, the Bay Area just doesn't have luck right now, and you know, we the 49ers are reeling because officially Ricky Pearsall is out for the season with his PCL, the swelling, and he's finally going to have surgery, which is, a good thing. And maybe he could, make his mark next year. So that's out of the way. And then day one of camp, I believe it was day one or day two, Christian Kirk, he strained his calf, which is just like, damn, like, everybody's calling the 49ers old, and it's like we are just kind of like fitting into that mold right now. And luckily, I have one of my longtime friends, former coworker, Dr. Haro, fellow 49er faithful. He is a sports chiropractor, and I wanted to know what's up with these things because strains are obviously different from tears and all the other terms. So I inquired with him, and that is my source right now. That I'm gonna dive in about Christian Kirk's calf strain. So let's see here. So a calf strain takes from a few days to 6 months to heal. Oh, that's good news. um, okay. With the most moderate strains requiring 4 to 8 weeks for tissue remodeling and safe return to activity. Recovery depends heavily on the severity and if it is torn. And so going down the list, Christian Kirk does have a grade one calf strain. So it says 1 to 3 weeks for minor micro tears, which I guess is what he has, slight tightness and minimal strength loss. So just reading that is like, okay, this guy's probably going to be out the first preseason game, which, okay, no big deal. Um, but just reading the calf tightness, I guarantee you that's exactly what Dejan Stribling has because he's been out of the last 2 days of training camp because he's had, um, I think he's had, it was either hamstring or calf tightness. And that's kind of like the same thing there or kind of close. So that means Stribling is probably out for 1 to 3 weeks. So it's just parts of our worst nightmares like coming true and so immediate in training camp. We want to like see these guys and see how good they look and like, oh man, we haven't had a receiving core like this. But it's just kind of looking bad right now. Okay, and like I said, Dejan Stribling um, has not been back to practice since the Niners. I think are being kind of cautious with him and his hamstring tightness. So um, Yeah, this is just crazy. Like there is like unlimited people just injured right now for the 49ers, and everybody that was making jokes, and then it was like, let's wait till we get to training camp. I'm sure everything will be okay. Well, now all their jokes are hitting because we can't hide from this crap. Um, and probably the thing that you were like, thank God this hasn't happened, pretty much happened today. Um, Mike Evans, man. Um, what did he get? He had a quad strain. So back again, reverting to Dr. Harrow. Here we go. Um, a quad strain, which Mike Evans suffered from today, which was weird because he did all his interviews on KMBR and stuff, and he didn't look like he was in any discomfort or anything. Maybe the interviews were done before practice. I don't know, but I always thought that they were after. But a quad strain takes 1 to 12 weeks or more to heal, depending on whether it's mild, moderate, or a severe injury. I don't know what grade he has, but a grade one is heals in 1 to 3 weeks. A grade two takes 4 to 8 weeks, and I'm sure they would have mentioned if it was a grade three severe, takes 3 to 6 months to heal. So um, this is just, especially Mike Evans. This is not what we wanted to hear with him, and because of his age, I believe he's 33, and that's kind of getting up there in wide receiver years. It's it's just not looking good for the Niners. Now, thank God we got Debo. Like all I ever said to get Debo was we needed an insurance policy. Then we signed Debo. Okay, Ricky's officially out for the year. Christian Kirk's already done, or I mean, he's out, and now Mike Evans. Like, so now our core. Who's our core? Oh, it's so Debo's number one right now, as far as however long Mike Evans is out, or however long they keep him out, and so Debo, Demarcus Robertson. I'm thinking Jordan Watkins, and Jacob Cowing. If I'm missing someone, let me know. But oh man, this just all these injuries. It's just like it's such a blow to Niners fans because it's like, oh, we finished the season, 12 wins, that win in Philly. Like, man, we made it. Brock down most of the year. Now we could get a fresh year under our belt, and we ain't got it. it's 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 stressful to be a Niner faithful. Bang bang Niner game. It's like every time bang bang happens, it's like who got injured. But man, this sucks. But remember, if you're liking the content, make sure you smash that like button, drop a comment with your opinion on the topics, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure. Okay, let's go. What we got next? By the way, thank you to one of my most loyal supporters, Dr. Harrow, for the info. The trusted info. Okay. Let's see here. And kind of on this same same regard, you know, a lot of players I've seen, maybe George Kittle, someone else brought it up today. I forget who it was, but now with all these Niner injuries, and a lot of guys are getting injured. I think I seen AJ Brown got injured today. Um, just a lot of people are getting injured, and I mean, it's kind of too much to kind of like really write down. But basically, people are asking for like, or players are asking for better fields, and I do not blame them. Like, cause bottom line is NFL is a product that the fans that pay for the tickets and pay for anything regarding to the NFL, they want their money's worth, like I do, and I want my full team out there. If we made acquisitions and stuff, and I don't want to I don't want to see the seventh string person in every position, which is looking like for the Niners right now. So I think it's kind of good for the players to kind of voice their opinion like they're doing, to basically say that, hey, we need better fields, better product, because like even like the other cursed place, if it's not the 49er substation, is um, MetLife Field, where the Jets and um, the New York Giants play. You see Malik Neighbors last year have that horrible injury. Scatabo had his injury. Um, and even going back a couple years, Aaron Rodgers' first series as a Jet, he's done. So I think at least the first measure of the players speaking out and everything, I think they should just outlaw turf. Like you, they are pro athletes. Why do they want to be driving their aging joints into concrete, which is turf, and it's a thin little layer, and then it's concrete under that. Like it's crazy, but I think the NFL has lasted long enough to where they got to make these adjustments. It's you got to have the best product out there on the field, and that's the bottom line. And I think the NFL really needs to incorporate these changes. I don't know how quick they can. I'm sure they can't do it before like next season or something, or the start of next season. But this stuff has to really happen. And as I mentioned, you know, the substation, I try to ignore all the hoopla around it, but all the national media guys, they any way they could fit it into a scenario and blurt it out, they blurt it out, and it is a thing. Because the least thing that it is it's paranoia in people's heads, whether fans, players probably are thinking about it, but they just don't admit it and kind of shrug it off, probably because they're encouraged to like act like they're shrugging it off. But the big quote that's always said by like John Lynch and like Kyle Shanahan and players is, it's a nothing burger. But you know, a couple years of bad injuries is enough, but now when you're coming into a new season and they're pretty much predictable injuries and it's kind of feeding a storyline, something's got to be done by this, and it is not nothing. They've had, scientists kind of just getting out there trying to figure something out and just be like, oh, it's nothing. And, it's just all hoopla and everything. And even like, the last time the Niners went to the Super Bowl in '94, the substation was there and they practiced in Santa Clara. So it kind of looks like nothing, but it's kind of unavoidable. You can't just look the other way anymore, and that's just what it is, plain and simple. So I don't know. That's just the way I look at it. It's like it should be nothing, but the facts is that it's not nothing anymore. It's something that you have to deal with. And one of the sports radio guys this morning, he said, just put like a big tarp over it and like do advertisement over that. Like I didn't think of that, but he said it, and that's not a bad idea. Or just put a tarp over it, so if you put a tarp over it, you don't really notice it. Like then, like I think people forget about it, and maybe it's not in the Niners players like heads anymore. So that's kind of how I think about it. Like, and because like every angle of training camp, it's like this big like Terminator type like structure over there, and I think it's a bad narrative, and it's got to be in the players, the back of their mind. And I just think the Niners front office, they don't really give a shit. They're just like, well, we're not getting injured, blah 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 blah. So I mean, that's kind of what I think about it. And just if you can't destroy it, which I doubt that you can, like just get it to be ignored or something, or completely rule it out. Because no matter what you say, I don't think they've ruled it out yet. But that's my little crap about the substation. Okay, moving on temporarily from football. Okay, um, hold on. Okay, okay, moving on temporarily from football. Like I just said, um, the San Francisco Giants, man. I will be the first to admit that I used to follow the Giants. Like, I used to take their stats and just trading cards and just psycho Niner or psycho Giants baseball fan, especially as a kid. Like, I don't even think I was that like crazy into the Niners yet. But I gotta say, this is like the worst year I've ever seen the Giants have. It's just, and honestly, people tried to shrug it off, but from the start, when they got Tony Vitello, I knew, and that hoopla to where it was like he made some kind of um he made some kind of like remarks that he didn't he kind of wished he was still in Tennessee. I think he's just looked like so weak, and I think that was just the making of things to come. And I don't know. Hold on one second. Sorry. So yeah, like the Tony Vitello stuff. I think he was the tip of the iceberg. I think Buster Posey was trying to kind of look like a genius. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be the first guy to get a college coach because I know what I'm doing. And I'm not faulting Buster for like, you know, just having the guts to make that kind of deal, but um, it didn't work, and he probably should have been fired like before the All Star break, as far as Tony Vitello, and that was the first thing, and it just seems like the Giants could never get the hang of anything. You know, the third base coach controversy, Adamas, looking like happy when we're losing, and everybody's struggling. Devers not living up to the hype of who he was supposed to be for the Giants, and now we got this fire sale because the first guy that left was kind of out of everybody, even though he wasn't the prototypical like you know guy everybody like liked or coveted. Is oh my god, I forgot his name. um, the catcher we had. Oh my God. See, I told you I wasn't that into the Giants like that. Um, Bailey. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's Bailey. I liked him. I felt like he got key hits when we needed it and stuff. But Buster traded him, and then now we're at the current fire sale, and we traded Ramos today, I believe, to the Yankees. Um, and why we gotta trade him to the Yankees? Um, we traded probably the best player on our team this year, um, Arias. Probably saying his name wrong, but when we signed him this year, I was like, dude, that is a good move. And he leads the league in batting average, and we're trading him. Trade him to the Philadelphia Phillies. Um, and who else? I think we traded Robbie Ray to the Padres. I don't think the Giants were sure about doing that, but they just pulled the trigger. Um, we traded one other pitcher, forget his name, um, to the Braves. Like it's like to me, like because I listen, to sports radio just religiously, and um, all I've been hearing is like pretty much Devers is gone. And I'm not saying that he can't be. I don't know when the actual deadline ends, but I think the one guy we should have got rid of is Devers, and Padres are rumored to like be going after him really hard with offers. Um, and he's still a Giant. So I don't know what's going on with him, but it's just disgusting. And then all the controversy, the pride controversy, with the Bible verses and everything. And then I kind of like zoned out of the Giants because it's like, man, they could never get under like 10 games, um, under 500. Um, and then I seen that Bader had some kind of scooter incident, and he's not getting paid until the investigation is done to what he did, kind of a la the Jeff Kent stuff that Jeff Kent had in his contract, where I think he got into like a motorcycle like accident or something, like a minor one, and yeah, but it's just there's too much in the Giants this year, man. Just depressing. I haven't followed them, but this year I was following them, and I was like, oh great, worst year in all the years of my life. I can't think of any other year that it was just like, oh, they're shit. Like they were still entertaining to me. Like I could remember back when um, one of my favorite players was Joe Carter from the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Giants actually got him. And that year, like I think we barely squeezed into the playoffs, and it was just we've always been competitive. And I just think Tony Vitello never had the clubhouse. It's just as simple as that. And what I think is, I think Buster should fire him, and then he should become the manager. And if he can't start making progress in at least a year, he should quit himself. That's what I think. Okay. Yeah, like I said, Chapman and Devers are still Giants. Honestly, when Chapman, I think he signed like a 4-year deal, like re-signed. I was like, man, he likes the Giants. Like I'd be thinking as a player, it's like, okay, dude, I gotta get the out of here right now. Like this ship is going down. But that's just me. All right, back to football. Um, Aaron Rodgers, man. I I gotta say, like a lot of people can't stand this guy, but I really like him. Like he doesn't give a shit about what people think about him, or what's written about him. He just wants the truth being talked about him, and he just wants to play ball. And he does his little things like, like little darkness retreats and stuff where, what's that stuff called? Ayahuasca or whatever. Like, he's doing stuff like that. He has, his stance on, the COVID vaccine and everything, which it's looking like, he was right on. But anyway, that's a different topic, uh, different channel. But anyway, um, he just kind of blurted out some stuff about the Vrabel and Diana Rossini story and or scandal, and he said, I mean, he put it on blast, especially the NFL, and he said, this is a major controversy and scandal, and it feels like ESPN and other media outlets just ignored it and didn't cover it at all. And he goes, there's kind of a legit thing that these reporters, like for the Athletic and everything, they have MVP votes as writers. And he was like, what is that? Like, the NFL should be investigating that, ridding that. And there's like some cahoots and stuff. He goes, it's ridiculous. And I was like, wow. He was just like on the Pat McAfee show today. He was really on one, and it was funny. And he was completely right because it's like there's more stuff that came out about Diane Rossini. I mean, the stuff already was like just crazy. Like, the thing that like I really looked at, like, yeah, she probably cheated with Vrabel and stuff, which wasn't right, and the trust between writers and the athletes and coaches, that was definitely broken. And um, but the thing that wasn't even with Vrabel, the thing where she got pulled over and that footage got leaked, where she asked the cop, "Oh, what team are you a fan of?" And she called the head coach of that team. Like, and you hear the coach just being cool. He's probably thinking, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, and he's like, "Yeah, she's a nice lady. It'd be nice if you let her go, but blah blah blah. Thank you for your service, crap." And thank you for your service is not crap, but like, you know what I mean. Um, but that was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm sorry and no disrespect, but she's just kind of looking like a floozy. Like, and like, women have fought so hard to get their like stance, their position as like top writers, and she's just like throwing it like all away or putting dirt on it by the things she's doing. And that's why I'm glad Aaron Rodgers, said what he said, and hopefully made the people that kind of like threw this under the rug, maybe makes them circle the block, man, and just kind of make this right. I mean, it's really disgusting, honestly, and I'm just glad that Aaron Rodgers got a big mouth, man, and he ain't afraid to use it, and he put that on blast, and you could see Pat McAfee going, "Oh, I got to interview Vrabel too." But yeah, that was dope. We need some of that non-protected type speech and stuff, like, because I'm so sick of everybody being, censored and stuff, man. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's hop on the tube, see what's popping on there. We go to let me check out MLB, see if there's um, and the Dodgers have gotten a few players too at this deadline, and it's like, okay, I got ridiculed by Dodgers fans like so bad Because they're like, well, if it was happening to the Giants, you wouldn't give a crap. True, touche. But it's just kind of like when the Dodgers have all these people, it's just kind of, I think my thing, don't let anybody defer the money anymore, because it's like you could really just stack the deck, and it's like you want as many teams in the MLB to be competitive. You don't want the Dodgers or one team like on that mountaintop where you can never reach them. Is boring. That's why when like the Twins were in the playoffs with like Johan like Santana, that was cool. It was someone new. Like the days when I know they're a different name now, but the Cleveland Indians when they had Roberto Alomar and Sandy Alomar, and Albert Bell. Like I know I sound old as crap, but there were a whole bunch of competitive teams. Going against like the Rangers with Juan Gonzalez, Ivan Rodriguez, like teams that are actually competitive a whole bunch. And now it's just like, hey, there's just one crazy team that everybody wants to go to all the time, and I think it's weak. But let's see if there's any other moves. I don't think what's his name, Scooble or whatever, went to the Dodgers. I think. Um, yeah, it's pretty weak. But okay, what else we got? Um, see if there's any like I didn't really see NFL stuff. Let's see if there's any NBA type stuff. Well, one thing I will address is the Warriors, man, have just shit the bed. And I know I've talked about this before, but now that like it seems like, kind of seems like every like media person or fan is kind of bashing the Warriors because it's really coming out that we could have had Jalen Brown for 4 picks, and we simply didn't do it. You know, we would have had we would have lost 4 picks, but we would have had Steph and Jalen Brown and Draymond. Like, because if you put another like decent star with us, like Draymond is effective. Like I know people are going, "Oh, you're a hypocrite. You bash him," but now you're not. But like we could have had Jalen Brown. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like they always talk about we want to maximize Steph's probably last 2 years, and you don't get this guy. And the thing that pissed me off is one of these guys that is more of a stat checker than me said that we have first round draft picks until 2033. So that would mean if we gave away 4, we'd still probably have like 3 or 4 left over. You can't live with that. Live with just 4 picks instead of 8 when you've been drafting freaks like Wiseman. Oh yeah, he's out the NBA. What 3-4 years? Who else? Kaminga. He still can't find a home, and you might have been right about that. Like as far as can't develop him, but um, Jordan Poole, that kind of has an asterisk because who knows if Draymond wasn't on the team, this guy might have been the next Steph because he certainly was taking like shots like Steph, and tell you like 80% of them were going in during that Celtics year we beat the Celtics. Um, but it's like, why not? And to me, like me and my buddy would always go back and forth. He was a big Jason Tatum guy. I was a big Jalen Brown guy. More of probably like uh, a guy that was just saying, Tatum has to put up. Like fourth quarters in the playoffs, he sucks. Like, and that's the truth. Take out that championship year or even add that in. Jalen Brown was the guy that was doing it. So, and Jalen Brown won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP and the Finals MVP, so he put up, and the Warriors could have had that. Like, and anybody, just like everybody wants to play with LeBron, Jalen would have want to played with Curry so bad. I mean, but he really didn't even know he was on the block. I mean, he knew, but he didn't think Celtics were going to pull the trigger. But it's just this this season we just I don't know why we didn't pull the trigger. I don't think they'll ever give an answer, and you know Steph's not gonna Steph's not gonna go anywhere. But it's like, man, you could have had maybe one run. If we added Jalen Brown, I just I just don't get how the front office of the Warriors are expecting the Warriors fans to feel like we're supposed to be going. Yeah, we should look good next year. Yeah, let's be a JV team this year, and let's just throw it all on Yaxel Lendenborg and wear him out. And it's like, come on, man. Like, it's like you don't want to blame Dunleavy, but is this who he is as someone that's building our team? Because that's what it looks like, and I'm fed up. But the big move, we haven't got anybody new, but we did re-sign Gary Payton II. Stacey Ogman Jr., man. Whatever. Yeah, Warriors frustrate me. You can hear the disgust in my voice. All right, let's see if we got anything else. Um, I'm just kind of sick of them talking about Philly and LeBron already. Um, it's annoying. Um, I did like, just on a side note, I did like the other. Well, today I seen a clip of it. They asked KD what he thinks about LeBron with the Sixers, and he goes, "Hey, you know, um, when that one team had four players in the starting lineup that scored 20 plus, y'all were mad. Now you got like basically four players in the Sixers lineup that average like 25 plus a game." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I was on the other team." Like, kind of throwing it back in people's faces, but it's true. Like, people want to say, "Oh, LeBron is 40 or whatever he is, 41." So what, dude? This guy, he's simmered down a little bit, but he's still like crazy good. And it's not like, oh, it's the older LeBron. I just hate when people always make an excuse like, oh, he's not stacking the deck. He would never do that, but he's stacking the deck. Ugh, but whatever. All right. Um, what else we got? Okay. What one thing I hate when I get comments and people try to correct me on my info or say this would be good, like, and they need to fact check what they say because I got so much knowledge in my brain, like sports knowledge that's unused and still up there that probably will never come out. And just the other day, someone commented and goes, "Yeah, like talking about, yeah, the Warriors should get Ja Morant." And I'm like, "Hey, bro, that sounds like a real good idea, but he got traded to the Trailblazers already." And last I heard that, you can't just get traded to one team and then 2 weeks later get traded to another team. I think there's a limit on that. I think you gotta at least uh, be with the team like maybe 4 to 6 months or something. There's some day thing. Like I think if that would happen, Ja wouldn't be able to be traded until like January, I think is how they do it. Um, but yeah, and speaking of Ja, that's who I think to me is going to be the comeback player of the year. I think he's going to ball out. He's got a sick ass co-star in Dame Lillard. They got that big white dude in the middle. They got Shaded Sharp. Um, they got Scoot. They got Drew Holiday. Like they got a little bit of a team. They got the poor man's Luca. Forgot how to say his name, Adojai or whatever. So Blazers, they're definitely gonna be higher in the Western Conference than the Warriors. But yeah, Ja's gonna be my sleeper. Yeah, I don't think there's much like NBA going on. Obviously, um, let's see. Uh, should do that. Oh, there was this like big like rumble in camp with like the Raiders, the arch enemies. With Kirk Cousins, that he's like running slow in practice. Um, it's like, what do you expect from this guy, man? He's been slow since he came into the NFL, and he's not running. He's not a mobile quarterback. He's just sitting there, and he's gonna like chuck it down the field or whatever. Um, and I guess he's an NFL Network analyst, David Carr, brother of Derek Carr, former Raider, was kind of giving it to him, and I guess they heard what he said, saying, "Yeah, Kirk is old. He's not out here to run or whatever." The next day in practice, he's like sprinting down the field and everything. That just shows you that when people like ignore you and they act like they don't hear you, they hear you. But I don't know why they're like. I give Kirk like first 4 games. After 4 games, Mendoza's going to be in there. Why not just get him reps early, game time reps? But yeah, that's what I think about that. All right, what else? Uh, one thing I noticed, I'm like, why is it taking so long? Is LeBron hasn't like acknowledged Philly yet. Like he did his little statement saying, "I believe we could really win over there." Like, but why hasn't he acknowledged anything like in Philly? I haven't seen anything. Like I would think that like he's gonna start like maybe go do some Rocky things, maybe run up the Rocky steps, or um like go mess with like Meek Mill or something. Just something Philly. Go have a Philly cheesesteak. Just do the corny. I'm new to the town, but I'm showing that I'm not an idiot and I know what I'm doing and I've been here before. And he's still not doing that. So kind of confused on that. What's taking so long? Do you even really want to be there? Because if I am a Sixers fan, if I am a Philly fan, even though it's close, because I took a train to from Philly to New York, and I think that was like maybe 2.5 hours. Why do you got to live in New York? Well, you can't find a place with the lucrative amount of money that you make in Philly? Do you not want to be in Philly, but you want to be on the Sixers? I'm just saying. Like, I mean, as a second city, like I love New York, so I get why he's doing it. But why don't you just try to sneak your way into New York? And he's basically doing what was the argument that he was going to come to Golden State. He could still basically live in LA, take a you know private jet, um, a private jet, to the game. Even though from New York to Philly, he's probably going to take like a chopper, basically. Get to the chopper. Um, so I don't know. I just think it's funny. I feel like he hasn't yet checked in Philly. And LeBron James, you need to check in Philly. Just saying. Come on, do some like uh sing the Fresh Prince of Bel Air like fucking theme song or something. But yeah, man, check in, LeBron, check in. Okay, let's see anything else. Um, Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You know, hit up the comments and tell me what you think of these topics and what your opinion is. Always want to hear. I always like going back and forth with people on this. Um, I don't think I'm finding one. Uh, uh, Trying to find like maybe like one or two more topics. Let me refresh this. One thing I will say is it's been kind of quiet around the Ayuk front. Every time I say that, I think he gets the message, and he clearly doesn't, and he posts like the next morning. So let's see how that transpires. Um, I'll go into this. Bijan Robinson and Jameer Gibbs are holding in right now, to get more money and stuff. And they both deserve the money. And as far as Jameer Gibbs, it's like you. Why did you get rid of David Montgomery? Oh yeah, because you were given the whole workload to Jameer Gibbs, right? I know you guys picked up Travis Pachenko, but he ain't what he was in those, Super Bowls where he beat my team. So, you know, Jameer Gibbs is going to be the bell cow. So why don't you? I think he's holding in for like maybe 4 million a year more. It's like just give it to him. I mean, Jameer is like, I think I had him on fantasy last year, and he was the guy I was always checking for. Like, you always look for that, like the best back in the league, and it was him. I can't think of anybody else. Um, Maybe Bijan Robinson, and he's doing the same thing. And I think Bijan probably deserves more than Gibbs. And I don't know why these front offices like they make it so difficult. It's just be like, yeah, you're my guy. As long as it's not crazy, like he's not asking for like double his salary or whatever, like just pay them both. Like, because if you rip them off your team, like off the Falcons, off the Lions, those teams are trash. Don't argue with me about that. They will be trash. Well, who do the Falcons got? I don't even know who the quarterback. Oh, Penix, a junior, and Tua. Like, who's the receivers? What they got? Pitts tight end. They got Drake London that I think they paid already. You pay Bijan before you pay Drake London. Sorry. Um, and I don't know. I gotta think that like Jameer Gibbs is a big reason why Ahmed St. Brown, is such a legit wide receiver. Yeah, he's cool. He's self motivated. He's always grinding, but focus ain't on the wide receivers when you got such a elusive back like that. So pay these guys. I think that's crazy. But all right, I think I'm dragging on here, but make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Looking forward to building this community. And yeah, make sure you smash that like button, drop the comments, and subscribe to the Authentic Take. Till next time, I'm out.